I'll Be Seeing You Part 2 is a very difficult episode of Cheers to watch. This is the 22nd and final episode of the second season, directed by the wonderful James Burrows. And it's beautifully done, but I hate it. And I feel wretched. I feel sad. And I never really have those emotions when I come away from an episode of Cheers. Sometimes an episode can be emotional, it can be very moving, but I still feel uplifted because I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the episode and I love Cheers. But with this episode, it's soul destroying, but it's so well done. And it's a challenge to watch, and to be honest, I don't enjoy watching it. I can truly appreciate how well it's done, and I will talk about some specific points in a moment, but I can't pretend that I like it because it makes me feel things I don't like feeling. There will be spoilers in this discussion for this episode. I will explain exactly what happens, and this means there will, of course, be spoilers for previous episodes. This is part 2 of I'll Be Seeing You. And part of me felt like they didn't need to make it a two-parter, but at the same time, I feel like having this separate and having the bulk of this second part just focusing on Sam and Diane did work really well. So at the end of the previous episode, Diane, against Sam's wishes, goes off to be painted by Semenko, this apparently brilliant painter, played by Christopher Lloyd, and he is in it very briefly. And Diane's wearing this gorgeous outfit. It's a pretty decent start. The painting is interesting. And she goes to Cheers. She's wanting Sam to see this painting. And we, the viewer, know that Sam also had a painting. And I have to say, it was an interesting painting. One of the few comedic moments in this is when Sam reveals that painting. We also have some comedy with Coach at the beginning, and it's a very creative way to introduce the episode because Coach is recapping on what happened in the previous episode, and we also have a little bit of comedy between Diane and Carla in a very moving moment where Diane gives a gift to Carla, and Diane actually acknowledges that she hadn't been at work very much, which I think is a rare occurrence because she often just leaves in the middle of a shift. So all that worked very well. But the rest of the episode is just Sam and Diane, and they do shout a little bit, but what's worse is when they're not shouting, because there's this sense of despair, like they've both just given up and they're fed up with the way their relationship is. They don't know if they can resolve it. The slapping was very uncomfortable to watch. I don't like the fact that Diane was getting annoyed that Sam slapped her when she slapped Sam. It's a two-way street. Yes, you should never hit a woman, as the classic saying goes, but you shouldn't hit a man either. So I don't like Diane's position there. The nose holding was definitely put in there to inject a little bit of comedy, and I have to say the positions they were in were brilliant in terms of the angles, the way we were able to see bits of their facial expressions. It was just very well done, very well executed. I can't imagine it was very comfortable to film. And then we get a really uncomfortable moment that made me realise something that I didn't realise about myself. And it's the moment where Sam is telling Diane to leave Cheers. And in that moment, while I've mentioned numerous times, I'm not the biggest fan of Sam and Diane. As a couple, their relationship doesn't interest me that much. So whenever a storyline focuses on them, I prefer other Cheers storylines, put it that way. But when Sam tells Diane to get out of Cheers, it hurts. And I got emotional, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it now because they're so iconic, and to think that could be it. Now I know what happens in the future episodes, I'm not going to say, but to think that that's how they're ending this season, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, and I'm not happy. I don't feel any positive emotions coming away from this episode, and that's even the episodes of Cheers that are dealing with, deaths or other losses, or episodes that are just not very entertaining. There are not very many of those, but every now and then there is one. Even then, I come away with memories of little jokes or quirky things that I really enjoyed, and they're just there's no positive emotion after this episode. I have appreciation for it. I think it's exceptionally well done, but that doesn't mean that I enjoyed it. It's difficult and I don't like it. And honestly, the sooner I jump into the third season, the better. Now, season 3 brings some exciting changes that I cannot wait to rewatch, so I'm looking forward to that. But needless to say, this is a very difficult episode. It's very well done, but I can't say that I enjoy it.